Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'll be discussing the battery performance on the brand new OnePlus 2. Now those of you who follow me on YouTube, you know my style. I take screenshots, I show you detailed screen on times, and I explain every single thing, how I use the phone and how the phone behaved ever since the phone was on me. I'm going to carry on with the same style, and those of you who don't follow me and if you're tuning in for the first time, guys, please, I strongly advise you to keep on watching the video, as you will find some very useful information about the battery life on the OnePlus 2. The OnePlus 2, by the way, has a 3300 milliampere battery, which is 200 milliampere more as compared to the one from last year, the OnePlus 1. Okay, so ever since I had the phone, I've had two updates, and I will discuss, then let you know the changes that have been made to battery life. With the first update, the battery had improved significantly, but with the second update, the battery went down to just average. And I will show you the figures, the screen on times, and how the updates affected the battery life. Okay, so when I got the phone out of the box, the phone had Oxygen OS version 2.0.0. So after the first update, it went up to 2.0.1, and the phone came out with Android Lollipop 5.1.1. By the way, this is the 4 gig version of the OnePlus 2. It comes with 4 gig of RAM and 64 gig of internal storage. So this was the first update, and I did post a dedicated video on my channel. If you haven't seen that video, guys, please do have a look and see, and you will find out what I discussed in that video. Also, I had some issues with the first system update, which I couldn't install properly. And if you guys are having any of those issues, please watch my video in which I give you guys a solution. I will provide you with the link down below, so you can have a look and see if you're still stuck with the first update and are unable to update to the second one or the first one. Okay. Once the phone was out of the box, I had the first update up, I fully charged the phone, and I left on standby, and after 3 hours and 42 minutes the phone lost 3%. So in less than 4 hours the phone lost 3%, which was a bit shocking, though I didn't expect that, because obviously the Oxygen OS from OnePlus is very vanilla type of skin, and it hasn't got any heavy layout to it, so I kind of expected a bit better. But I was a bit surprised and a bit shocked, to be honest, that it was losing 1% every 1 hour, which wasn't as good. Anyways, I kept on using the phone further down to 50%. The battery went down to 50%, and after using it for a few hours, I got a screen on time of 2 hours and 59 minutes. So almost I got 3 hours of screen on time after using the phone when the battery went down to 50%, and I was very happy to see that battery. I had still 50% battery left, and I had almost 3 hours of screen on time. And by the way, this was after the first update. At this time, the second update hadn't been installed. It was just the first update, even though the second update was waiting for me to be installed and downloaded already, but I never done it. I was in the middle of the day, and I thought, let me carry on with the first update and see how the battery on the OnePlus 2 behaves. So after using it all day long, like I said, second update came whilst I was using the phone, but I refused to install it because I wanted to carry on with the first update. Like I said, showed you earlier, the first update had battery optimizations, so I was very keen to find out how the battery was on the OnePlus 2. So I kept on using the phone further, still installed with the first update, mind you. The second update wasn't installed, and after using it pretty much all day very heavily, I was able to get 6 hours and 1 minute of screen on time. Now this is one of the best screen on times I've had on any phone. The last one I remember which got close to this was the Sony Xperia Z3 Compact, not the Z3. Even the Z3 was always around 5.5 to 5 hours and 40 minutes or 45 minutes of screen on time, but this one 6 hours and 1 minute, and Z3 Compact was the only last phone I ever used which got me almost 6 hours of screen on time. Anyways, now this screenshot was taken once I had finished with the 6 hours screen on time. I was very happy, and I got obviously excited, and I had a bit of issues with the first update as well. I couldn't install it, and eventually I was able to install the first update, and then the second update came along and I installed it. Now this screenshot I remember particularly, it was taken after the second update, and to my shock and my surprise, the battery actually had lost its stamina. As you can see, when I installed the second update, I fully charged the phone, and the battery went down to 83%, and I only got about 28 minutes of screen on time. I was a bit shocked. In fact, I was very shocked and disappointed, because I had lost that great stamina which the first update brought along. and I was a bit surprised in why OnePlus messed up with the second update, and the battery kind of lost its legendary screen on time that I got from the very first screenshot. Anyways, I had the update installed ready, and I didn't want to go back, so I thought let me just keep on carrying on using the phone and see and show you guys, because most of you out there with OnePlus 2, if you have the second update installed, you wouldn't want to go back, obviously. And it's a natural thing. Everybody wants to install the fresh and the latest update. That's what the OEMs do. They send you the latest updates, and you're supposed to install them, and they're supposed to make things better. But unfortunately here, the battery power, the legendary 6-hour screen on time was never achieved again, which will probably should be shown you in the video anyway. Anyways, the battery went down to 39%, and after using it pretty much all day, I was able to get 2 hours and 49 minutes of screen on time. Now this same screen on time was achieved with the first update when the battery was down to 50%, so it made a difference of about 11% with the same screen on time. And by the time I finished with this, the battery went down to 1%, as you can see on the top here, top right corner, and I got 4 hours and 26 minutes of screen on time, which is still, don't get me wrong, a decent screen on time. But with a phone which has a 5.5 full HD, not a quad HD, a full HD panel along with a huge massive 3300 mAh battery, you do expect a lot. My LG G4, which has a quad HD 5.5 inch screen with only a 3000 mAh battery, is able to achieve this kind of screen on time very easily. So you do expect a 1080p panel and a bigger battery to at least do better than the LG G4. And there's a third update which is about to roll out already on the OnePlus 2. I've been reading about it in the media, and I'm very keen to find out if that third update will make any difference, and we can hopefully go back to the same old 6-hour screen on time which we got from the very first update, even though it'll be magical if it happens, but only time will tell. Anyways, another day I charged the phone fully to 74%, using it for about half a day. I got about 1 hour and 22 minutes of screen on time, which was again decent enough for 2015 standards, but not for a 1080p panel with a big massive 3300 mAh battery. Anyways, went down to 50%, and I was also using LTE 4G service on the phone, so it was a bit of a mixed use, 4G and a bit of Wi-Fi, as you can see on the graph here, and I was able to achieve 2 hours of screen on time. Now you can see already the difference of nearly an hour, half an hour to an hour when the battery is down to 50%. So if you're using 4G along with Wi-Fi, like any other phone, obviously you will see the screen on time will decrease, because 4G LTE services, obviously if you're using data on it, require more power, and it uses more battery. Anyways, I kept using the phone on LG on 4G LTE and also Wi-Fi all the way along, all day long, and yet again I was able to achieve 4 hours and 14 minutes of screen on time when the battery went down to 2%. By the way, in all these scenarios, the screen was kept around 60 to 50%. The screen on the OnePlus 2 gets very bright. It's a very powerful bright screen, so I was keeping it around 50 to 60%. Normally I keep my brightness around 70%, like on the LG G4, because the screen is not as bright, and it gets bright only when you push it beyond 70, whereas on the OnePlus 2, around 50 to 60%, the screen can get really bright. That's why I didn't go any further up beyond that. So the screen was kept all the way along around 50 to 60% and all of this testing time. Anyways, I got 4 hours and 14 minutes after a mixed use of 4G and Wi-Fi both, and this was when the battery went down to 2%. Another screenshot. And then I used the phone all day long. I was in a weak signal area where there was no mobile signal, and this is one of my habits. Every time I'm in a weak signal area, there's no signal, I always turn the airplane mode on, and I would strongly suggest you to do the same, because if you don't do that, your phone will keep on looking for signal, and in doing so it will heat up, and also it will lose battery quicker because it's constantly searching for a signal, and that puts strain on the battery. Anyways, I was on airplane mode. You kept on using the phone all day long, 9%. And after using it all day, I got 3 hours and 15 minutes of screen on time, which was even less than what I got before. Why? Because I had quite a big slots of 4G LTE here as well, and this one scenario particular day was a bit funny as well, because I can't expect it to at least touch around 4 hours of screen on time, even though you can see it's 9%. And if I would have kept on using it, I would have probably got around 3.5, maybe 3 hours and 40 minutes of screen on time, but not as much. But this was a very strange scenario in which the phone didn't give me enough battery life. There was something going on at the back end. I don't know what it was, but it refused to give me close to 4 hours of screen on time. It was funny though. Anyways, and then I charged the phone yet again on another day, went down to 50% using Wi-Fi and 4G as well, and I got a screen on time of 1 hour and 35 minutes. So every time in a scenario where I've used more 4G LTE services and less of Wi-Fi, the screen on time obviously reduces like any other phone. And then further down, 2% Wi-Fi, 4G LTE as well. I was able to get again 3 hours and 36 minutes of screen on time, and this was again when I was using 4G LTE. But like I said, I kind of expected it to touch maybe close to 4 hours of screen on time, but it didn't for some reason. And like I said, for a couple of days it behaved really strangely, and I was a bit shocked to see why it was only giving me 3.5 hours of screen on time with such a huge massive battery inside. Anyways, as time went along, the battery settled well. The good news is that it kept on improving, and now I'm getting regular 4.5 hours of screen on time. Another screenshot I took after full charge, 2%, and I was able to get 4 hours and 29 minutes of screen on time. Since this day, up till now, it hasn't given me anything less than 4.5, and the battery and the software has now well optimized. But I do expect the third update coming up very soon. Hopefully things will improve and we should be able to get over 5 hours of screen on time, and that's the kind of screen on time I expect from a phone with the big massive 3300 mAh battery with only a 1080p to power up, not even a quad HD. Anyways, another day, another screenshot, 49%. As you can see, used the phone pretty much all day long, and around 4:30 I took a screenshot and I was able to get 2 hours and 44 minutes of screen on time, which was one of the better screen on times I got because I was using Wi-Fi more and 4G less. That's why I was getting more screen on time. Like any other phone, if you use Wi-Fi more and 4G LTE less, you will get more screen on time. And when I finished this day around 3%, using it pretty much all day long, I was able to get a total of 4 hours and 46 minutes of screen on time. This is the best screen on time I got ever since I had the second update. The second update did not allow me to go beyond 4.5 hours, but in this scenario, in case, because I was using Wi-Fi more and 4G LTE services less, that's why I was able to get a bit more than 4.5 hours and quite close to 5 hours of screen on time. But I do expect this phone with an update and improvements in future to give me at least 5 to 5.5 hours of screen on time, because it's such a big battery, like I said, and full HD 1080p panel, you do expect it to go beyond 5 hours very, very easily. And then I also was very keen to find out after the second update how the standby times have they improved or not. To my surprise, and to all of you, I can tell that the screen's standby time, the phone standby time has significantly improved after the second update. As you saw in the previous screenshot when I showed you earlier in the video, it was losing 1% at every 1 hour, but here after almost 8.5 hours it only lost 2%. As you can see in the top right corner, the battery was down after when I woke up after 8.5 hours. This was, by the way, during night time, and when I got up, I had 98% of battery still left and only lost 2% in 8.5 hours. So the standby times have definitely significantly improved, but I do expect the screen on times to improve in the future update as well. Yet again, another screenshot, same from earlier, 50% LTE services, 4G and Wi-Fi, and I was able to get 2 hours and 14 minutes of screen on time, which is pretty much average again, because if you're going to be using 4G LTE, this is what you would expect. And by the time I finished my day after using the phone pretty much all day, I was able to get 4 hours and 25 minutes of screen on time. So as you can see, guys, if you have a mixed kind of usage with 4G and LTE and Wi-Fi, you should be expecting between 4 to 4.5 hours of screen on time on the OnePlus 2. And this is after installing both the updates, not just the first. If you only have the first update, the chances are you'll be getting very good screen on times, close to 6 hours, maybe more. So those of you who have the first update and you do not want a second update, but you want to enjoy the battery life, it's totally down to you guys. You can do that. But I normally intend to keep my phone up to date with the latest update, with the hope that for most likely in future update, OTA update, things will improve. Another screenshot, 5%, and I was able to get a total screen on time of 4 hours and 29 minutes. So as you can see, after the first few days, the battery was a bit topsy-turvy, and then eventually it settled down, and now it's giving me a regular 4.5 hours of screen on time with no problems whatsoever. As you can see, guys, I took many screenshots. Again, this one here, LTE, Wi-Fi, a bit of both all day long, and I was able to get 4 hours and 1 minute. So here I think because I used 4, as you can see the gaps up there, I was using 4G LTE more as compared to Wi-Fi, and that's why I was able to get slightly less screen on time than 4.5 hours. But 4.5 hours is very realistic, and you should be able to get this kind of screen on time with the OnePlus 2 very easily. So guys, this was a quick overview of the OnePlus 2 and the battery life and how the battery has been behaving. The battery is decent enough. 4.5 hours screen on time is still a very good screen on time, and you will find it very hard to finish the phone's battery in 1 day. But like I said, because the phone only has a 1080p panel with the big 3300 300 milliampere battery, so you do expect at least it to cross 5 hours of screen on time. If you've seen my Huawei Honor 7 video, that phone also has 1080p panel with a 3100 milliampere battery, and that was easily giving me around 5 to 5.5 hours of screen on time, which is simply amazing. If you haven't seen that video, please do check it out, and if you haven't seen it so far. But guys, in the end, I would like to conclude that there are going to be quite a few updates, like OnePlus has announced. They're going to keep on improving the phone. There are quite a few bugs in the phone still, especially when you move the notification panel down. You do sometimes when you turn the airplane mode on and off, this notification panel at times gets stuck, and OnePlus are completely aware of that already, and hopefully in the next update this will be solved issue. And also guys, once the third update, which is about to come out, is released and I've installed it, I will make a small quick video on my channel, and I will show you guys. And once if I see any significant improvements in screen on times, I will redo the battery performance video, and I will show you specifically that a third update made any difference and have you had any improved screen on time. If you don't see a video from me in the next few weeks, 3-4 weeks, that means the third update did not made any changes to the screen on times. But guys, do follow me in Google Plus, Twitter or Facebook for the latest up-to-date information on OnePlus 2 and battery improvements. I post my articles, my updates all the time on Google Plus, Facebook and Twitter. So I strongly suggest, if you want to know everything about the OnePlus 2, please follow me on social media, and should be able to get up-to-date information almost every day. So guys, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up, and guys, like always, please subscribe to my channel as it helps. And if you got any questions regarding the OnePlus 2's battery performance or anything else, guys, please feel free to ask me in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video.